April 27th, 2011. A strong and violent tornado just touched down southwest of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and what is about to unfold next will be remembered as one of the most devastating tornadoes of all time. Leading up to April 27th, the National Weather Service first issued an incredibly high 45% chance for tornadoes in the Tuscaloosa, Alabama area. This is extremely high, and it showed when it came to the day of April 27, 2011. A super tornado outbreak was about to unfold across the state of Alabama. It's 4:32 p.m. and a funnel was seen a few miles southwest of Tuscaloosa. 4:43 p.m. The funnel had now lowered, and there was an EF4 tornado inching closer to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The citizens of Tuscaloosa began to take shelter as tornado alarms began to blare.
Headed up
and it's moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, these are all moving anywhere between 55 and 60 miles per hour. There are multiple tornadoes on the ground right now in parts of central and northern Alabama. It's been an extremely dangerous day, and it continues to be so as we watch this storm right now. This is a powerful tornado right now on the ground in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Before this tornado, there was 2 tornadoes heading right towards Tuscaloosa, but they both had weakened and disappeared, saving Tuscaloosa, right? It has now been a few minutes since the tornado had touched down, and it has now strengthened quickly to an EF3 tornado as it inched closer to the town of Tuscaloosa. The tornado became quickly very destructive and violent as it first destroyed a manufacturing business. The tornado then quickly continued destroying everything in its path. The first death occurred when 73-year-old Minnie Ackland was thrown from her vehicle when the tornado crossed the interstate. She was retired and a member of a Tuscaloosa church. The next victims came here at the Rosedale Court Tuscaloosa apartment community. Here, 5 lives were taken as the tornado destroyed the apartments. 2 of the victims were a 26-year-old woman and a 15-month-old child. Another victim was a 15-year-old who was sitting in a red truck when the tornado came through. He was thrown from the car. His body was discovered over half a mile away. 2 of the other victims were a 26-year-old mother and a 5-month-old child. As the tornado was ripping through the apartments, Michael Wilhelm had just pulled over east of the McFarland Boulevard exit on I-2059 and captured this video as he was southwest of the tornado. Just look at those vortexes. Absolutely terrifying. As we go along, the next deaths came here at Charleston Square, as 2 lives were taken. They were both 21 and students at the University of Alabama. Here's some footage by Robert Riding on YouTube. His son lived in the Charleston apartments, but luckily his son was not home at the time of the tornado.
They just redid everything on bottom of that. All that tile's brand new, all the grout and everything, like the bricks up top and all that, they just replaced all of that like a week ago.
That footage was taken right next to the pool, as you can see on Google Earth. Here's some more footage that was taken as the tornado was approaching Charleston Square moments before the tornado destroyed the apartments. Trent Miner survived this and later posted this video on YouTube, which shows how terrifying this tornado was as it approached them.
What it is? Yes, it is.
That's not. Power pole will break before it does that.
Oh my God.
Look at the tornadoes coming out of it.
Holy shit. It's heading right for our apartment.
I gotta see it hit them trees, man. I gotta see what it does to them trees.
It's about to bust his fucking windows. What's about to do?
If it does, if the window starts moving around, we'll get out. But I gotta see what it does to them trees.
There goes the power.
Don't you want to know what it does to them trees? Dude, this is gonna hit us directly.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at everything flying out of it.
Let's go take cover.
Let's go. Let's take the shit off the apartment.
Absolutely terrifying, as you can see the debris flying off the roof just before they take cover. After the tornado passed through Charleston Square, a 55-year-old resident was killed here. Next, 22-year-old University of Alabama student Ashley Harrison was taking cover in her closet with her boyfriend Carson Tinker, a football player at the University of Alabama, who later became long snapper for the Jaguars, Rams, Seahawks, and Raiders, and even won a Super Bowl in 2021 with the Rams. Tinker, when huddled with his girlfriend in the closet, was thrown 100 yards but miraculously survived. Sadly, his 22-year-old girlfriend passed away. Alabama later that year won a national championship, and Carson wrote a book about that unforgettable season. James Spain, famous meteorologist for ABC 3340, told people that the tornado was 4 miles away from where it actually was due to the radar being off. He told everyone the tornado was near Skyland Boulevard when it wasn't near, and the tornado actually went much north of there. James Spain later blamed himself for the death of Ashley Harrison after learning from Carson's book that they were going by James's word and didn't take cover thinking they were in the clear.
So again, everybody near Skyland Boulevard, be in a safe place. Everybody in the city limits of Tuscaloosa, be in a safe place.
James Spain gets into more detail in this podcast.
I said at that point that tornado, based on looking at the debris ball on radar, was going to go down Skyland Boulevard, which was about 4 miles south of where the thing actually went. I had great fear. In fact, I knew. And part of the reason I didn't talk about it for 6 months, I knew that probably killed somebody. And sure enough, in this book, let me just read straight from the book. It says, by the time everybody was glued to the television, Ashley, as well as my roommates, Peyton Holly and Alan Estes, were there. A sky cam from downtown Tuscaloosa showed a massive, mile-wide tornado headed in Tuscaloosa's direction. But from this report, we thought it was going towards Skyland Boulevard, well south of our neighborhood. And accordingly, they didn't do anything immediately, and I think that cost her life. This is Ashley Harrison. She was 22 years old, gorgeous girl, brilliant, just everything you'd want in a daughter if you were the parents.
James is not the villain here, and is more of a hero from that day. It really sucks that he blames himself for this. Moving on, fortunately there was a period where no lives were lost until the tornado got to Forest Lake Drive, where 85-year-old William Robert McPherson lost his life. William actually survived the tornado at first, when his house fell on top of him. He was released from the hospital the next day, but contracted pneumonia after getting wet from the storm and died on April 29th, 2 days after the tornado. Something similar happened to 87-year-old Hope Hamilton when she passed 5 months after the tornado. Next, there were 3 more deaths here on Cedar Crest Road. 2 of the deaths were a couple that attended the University of Alabama, 23-year-old Morgan Maureen Sigler and Perry Peak, who was visiting. Watch and listen to the tornado as the tornado was passing over Cedar Crest Road during this video.
Look how big that thing is! There's so much debris in the air.
It's time to get inside.
3 more lives were taken more northeast as the tornado ripped through their home on Beverly Heights. The victims were all only in their 20s. One of these deaths were Daniel Downs, the 6th and final University of Alabama student, the final student of the University of Alabama who died in the tornado. All 6 would receive their degree posthumously. This next part is a neighborhood called Alberto City, which is one of the poorest areas in Tuscaloosa at the time and was destroyed with major damage. There was a few deaths here. 61-year-old grandma known as Miss Yvonne Mays, her 3-year-old grandson Michael Bowers, and 2 others at the Chastain Manor, a senior residential apartment complex. And then south of that was a nursing home where 5 others would perish. The nursing home was only slightly damaged, but was out of power for the night, with no water. 5 residents died due to lack of care, including a 97-year-old and a 98-year-old. Further again to the northeast was the neighborhood called Hold. 10 lives were taken here. These houses were very cheaply built, as we see one house with 3 deaths in it. Before the tornado finally left Tuscaloosa to move on to Birmingham, the tornado claimed 2 more lives. Here is the final overview of the path of destruction that was left in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Can you? Look at the inflow.
The time is 6:03 p.m. We're at the Green Springs exit on 65. We have a wall cloud that looks like it's possibly 2 miles wide, a massive tornado on the ground.
Almost a mountain that overlooks the city. So we're actually looking north. The camera is actually looking to the northwest right now. So you're following this big black mass from left to right. So that would be from southwest to northeast across the metro Birmingham area. Again, it looks like it's just north.
We are just hearing now that there is a tornado emergency for Birmingham, Alabama. So, folks, Birmingham, on the north side of Birmingham, large wedge tornado is now making its way to the east very rapidly, probably about 50 miles an hour. It looks like it's going to pass to the north of downtown. Again, a tornado emergency now in effect for Birmingham, Alabama. Greg.
Yeah, and look how wide that is. It's filling the entire camera screen. So this is either one very, very large tornado or more likely a combination of just the whole rotating parent wall cloud, the rotating thunderstorm updraft basically on the ground.
The tornado would now enter into Birmingham, Alabama, still very strong, and sadly take the lives of 20 more people.